And I had a cat on my chest, so I couldn't lean over to Google if he was right or not. So we all sat there for another 7 minutes watching the credits. But I was happy to see them because it meant the movie was over.
Becca,
You're welcome.
The traditional start of the post-credit scene in cinematic history is seen to be Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Interesting. I have no idea when that movie came out, and I've never seen it.
Welcome to the Skiffy and Fanny Show's Torture Cinema!
Today we're flying through the sky at Mach 1,217,087,003 just to land on thin ice with our listeners.
What? Did you just make that number up, or is it significant?
No, I just made that up. I did write it down so I wouldn't fuck it up, though.
Yeah, Paul, is that some sort of universal constant I'm unaware of?
I would have to do some research on that.
Oh, okay. See if you can find the patterns of whatever number Becca just said in the universe, and we will start a religion.
Ah.
I might have to do with the Planck constant.
I'm Charlie.
You are not Charlie. You are not Charlie at all. I'm Paul.
Do you not?
I'm Becca.
What is the reference to that? I completely forget. Why am I Charlie again?
I don't know.
What happened? I'm sure Trivity Mats in chat will let us remind me because I don't remember. Because I
what
remember
is
it happening
happening?
that Charlie came up, but I can't remember. Anyway, on this our live Torture
Becca
Cinema
did
show,
not introduce herself.
No, I said I'm Becca.
Oh, okay, you were too laughing too much.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Sean.
Hold on, let's make sure we got this. I'm Sean.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Becca.
Okay.
Oh,
Great.
Right.
So that's right. So in chat, this is the reason because Trivity Mats Trish has been doing our transcripts for many of our episodes, and apparently sometimes the transcription automator machine gizmo decides that my name is Charlie, not Sean.
Interesting.
Now that makes no sense, and I imagine Trivity Mats is also incredibly confused by this because Sean sounds nothing like Charlie.
They only share 2 letters.
Yeah, it's very confusing. But in any case, on this live Torture Cinema show, recorded before a live audience on the internet, who may or may not be wombats, we're going to discuss the 1982 Cold War techno thriller Firefox, directed by and starring Clint Eastwood and based on the novel by Craig Thomas. The screenplay was written by Alex Laster and Wendell Wellman. It stars, again, Clint Eastwood, has Nigel Hawthorne, Warren Clark, Klaus Lovich, I think I've got that correct, Freddie Jones, Ronald Lacey, and many, many, many others, almost exclusively entirely of the male persuasion.
Were there any women in this film?
Yes. There were.
I'm just assuming there was someone.
Yes. In the airport scene early on when he gets his papers checked.
Oh, right.
Moscow.
There's
the
one
woman.
woman. There's the one
singular
woman.
There's a couple others floating around. There's also one of the scientists at the hangar is a woman. Scientist engineers is also a woman.
I don't know that I believe you anymore.
Okay, that I do remember. The wife of one of the scientists is a woman.
So yeah,
my cat's making me look like a crazy person. Anyways,
there's a few women, not many though. It's very much a sausage fest.
Question for Paul.
Yes.
If you watch a movie,
mm-hmm.
and there are no women ever on screen, in that movie's universe, do women exist?
Depends on that universe. It could be that men are created by parthenogenesis. They might be able to create more men by means of simulating themselves.
Don't be cowards. It's an Alpha Beta Omega universe. And the men have children.
This is quickly turning into the
Shall we
gore
have a
novel alternative to Joanna Russ right now.
Yes.
Good
I'm going to
Lord.
bring us back to the plot. Anyway, Firefox
Never.
Do it.
was a movie chosen by our Patreon supporters, and you can be a patron for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/SliffyandFanty. And this is based on a poll of Cold War science fiction films. Firefox has an IMDb rating of 5.9 out of 10 and holds a critical approval rating of 41% and an audience score of 42% on Rotten Tomatoes. I have questions.
Yeah, I can't believe 42% of people. Like, what? Anyways, before we get into our complaining about this movie, a reminder to our listeners, please share your questions and comments with us about our show at skiffyandfanty.com/listener suggestions. They might get discussed right here on future shows. If you aren't already, join us on Twitch for Sean's Alphabet streams, Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Central, to be part of our interactive live streaming format. Finally, be sure to join our Patreon and be part of our special Patreon-only events on Discord. It only takes $1 a month. I saw hand waving and it started messing me up.
Oh, sorry. Let me talk while I'm hand waving. So this is a reminder for anybody at home that, sorry, should I do the Charlie D'Amelio thing where I'm like, hey guys, welcome to my TikTok stream?
I don't know what that means. I'm an old.
I figured Becca would.
I'm an old. I don't know what that means.
I actually don't have
you
a
don't know
TikTok. I know who you're talking
Okay,
about,
never
but
mind.
I've never watched her live streams on TikTok because I don't have a TikTok.
Okay, well, we have very different perceptions of reality. Anyway, if you do join our Patreon, you get things like access to our Speculative Dispatch show and the Discord that we actually have, and we record the Dispatch live there. So, I don't know. Join. It's fantastic.
So
Okay.
fun.
So,
And
we got to get to what we're drinking.
No, also we should tell folks, please tell folks about our show and review us on iTunes, Podchaser, Good Pods, and wherever else you listen to our podcast. Word of mouth is a big deal for fan-run podcasts such as ours, and we do need your help to find new ears for our ridiculous show. I mean, don't you want more people to listen to the dulcet tones of Sean or the enthusiasm of Becca? You do.
Aw, I'm enthusiastic.
What about you, Paul?
I'm a meat popsicle.
Yeah, but you're kind of sexy. So.
Objection,
Starting
counselor.
early. Let's go. Let's go.
Objection, counselor. Facts not in evidence. Anyway, why don't we go to drinking?
Objection denied.
Why don't we go with what we're drinking?
Objection denied. Anyway, yeah, so we should get to what we're drinking, and so I will go to you, Paul. What sexy beverage are you consuming?
There's nothing sexier than two hydrogen atoms and an oxygen atom which love each other very much together.
Nice.
That is, if anything, Paul, you might be correct. Possibly the hottest thing the universe has ever produced.
No, it's not the hottest thing, but it's the sexiest thing. Anyway, yes, I'm drinking
Their
water.
squinchiest thing.
Does that do it for you, Paul? Like when you see like water come out of a tap, you're like, oh yeah, there's a lot of hydrogen atoms getting it on right now.
When I'm visiting a waterfall, that's a different thing. When I can hear that rushing sound, the rushing sound of the waterfall is actually the mating of the hydrogen and the oxygen together in a frenzy of why is this podcast turned weirdly sexual today? Hydrate.
I haven't even done anything.
Seen this show?
I haven't even done anything yet.
Hydrate or
I
dihydrate?
mentioned ABO once.
Anyway. Yeah, so I am drinking water. What are you drinking, Becca?
I am drinking the last 2 cans I have of this Jameson Orange Spritz. It's a little Irish whiskey cocktail. It's quite yummy. And what are you drinking, Charlie?
You mean Sean?
So
No, I mean
I
Charlie.
forgot how to drink, and I just spilled all over myself.
So you're drinking nothing.
Your devastated little face.
I went to go like, oh yeah, I'll have a sip, and then it went blah, 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 like all down my.
There,
So I'm over here trying to clean it up.
Oh, man.
oh baby.
Also, I would like to
I
say
am
that
having
Trish
an
is wrong.
alcoholic
There was a
beverage.
single sexy in Firefox, and we'll get to that later.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm not drunk. I have not pre-gamed this. But I am having I was going to make a Clint Eastwood. There are a couple different versions of Clint Eastwood's, but they all require ingredients that I don't even know what they are, so forget it. I'm moving in like 4 months, so I'm not buying any new bottles of stuff that I don't know I like. So instead, I made, I don't know what you call this, like, it's not a French connection because it's got other stuff in it, but it's got some Courvoisier cognac. It has a little bit of Amaro Superior from Vicra Distillery down in Duluth. I put some Angostura orange bitters, some actual orange slices and peel for some extra oomph in there. There's also some peach syrup and some grenadine to add some extra flavor.
That sounds that sounds quite the cocktail.
I would say the Amaro Superior is fine. I should get Amaretto because Amaretto is just a little deeper flavor. The Amaro Superior is a little not enough to cut through the cognac. So, but this is a reminder before we move to the rest of this. If you are at home, alcoholic beverages are not required on this Gifty and Fanty show. You may have them if you like. You may have them at home. You may have them, when you're on the phone. You may have them, Sam I Am. Whatever makes you happy. But the big thing is, don't drink and drive. Drink responsibly. Don't overconsume. And if you can't have alcohol, you don't like alcohol, you don't have to have it. You can drink water. You can drink juice. You can drink anything at all, even if it's made out of spruce. All you want to do, just drink it.
How many times are you going to try and rhyme today?
Honestly, I'm practicing for a rap battle, so let's do it. I'm not practicing for a rap battle, just to be clear. Okay. So, it is now time for... Apparently, I am summarizing this movie. I have been...
You get to summarize
you
this
are
movie.
summarizing.
I apparently get to make... Rebecca and I get to make sounds.
Yeah.
You get... Okay, well... So, the movie Firefox, released in 1982, is based on a novel of the same name from 1977 by Craig Thomas. The movie's basic premise is there is a new secret, mega powerful, super scary Russian, aka Soviet, fighter aircraft called the MiG-31, aka the Firefox. This thing can go Mach 6. It is virtually unseeable by radar. It also apparently has like laser things that can shoot out of its butt and its mouth at the same time. It is a very big deal. So they go,
and it also has mind control.
Hold on, I hadn't got there yet. Okay, but yes.
Okay.
Also, it runs by like on the human mind ? We'll probably come back to that. In any case, the United States and the British are not happy about this, and so they've decided to let the Revolutionary War finally go to the past and have decided to work together in order to infiltrate the airbase where this aircraft is being tested and have it stolen. And the person doing the stealing is none other than Clint Eastwood, aka Major Mitchell Gant, who is supposedly the super
worst
hot
spy
shot,
in existence.
really cool pilot. You stop now, okay? But yes, you're correct. But he is a hotshot pilot. I suppose we're supposed to think that he's basically Tom Cruise in Top Gun, except with none of the sex appeal and also a whole lot of PTSD. I don't know why we're supposed to think he's a hotshot pilot, because literally the only time we see him pilot at the beginning of the movie, he's being shot down.
He got shot down.
Yeah. So apparently he's really good at surviving. Is really what we've learned. But as you know about aircraft, expensive. Anyway, so they're like, oh, hey, let's take this guy who's never been a spy in his entire life, and let's make him pretend to be a Russian heroine or an American heroin dealer in Russia. And so we'll send him over. He'll get hooked up with some other spy people. There's some like subterfuge, whatever. And then somehow he's going to connect with these scientists working on the plane who may or may not be Jewish, ? I don't quite know. Whatever. And then he's going to steal the plane. He's going to fly it away, and he's going to bring it all the way back to the Americans and the British. And then I don't know. Like, is it just that they're deconstruct it so we know how the plane works, and the Soviets will not in any way be upset by this whatsoever? I guess.
Or have blueprints to build a second one.
I kind of feel like if
there's such a thing as reverse engineering, Becca, where you have an object and you might have the blueprints, but you can kind of figure out how it works based on having the piece of it.
Yeah.
I'm saying that the Russians would just build a second one.
Well, yes, but if you have the blueprints, if you have the one that you can reverse engineer, then you can counter the weaknesses of it. I mean, is it a great plan? But no, there are worse plans out there.
I mean, yes. I feel like sending the guy who has obvious PTSD and absolutely no training as a spy to go act as a spy to steal your super mega plane is maybe not the best move.
Well, this is the Armageddon thing. In Armageddon, we need people to be able to drill into an asteroid and break it apart. So rather than teaching astronauts how to drill, they get a bunch of oil drillers to be astronauts.
Here's the thing, Paul. We actually see them trying to train the oil drillers at Armageddon. The only training this guy seems to get at this is this sweaty, weirdly curly-haired, almost afroed British guy just talks to him about the plan and then says, "Good luck, bye-bye."
You mean Thufir Hawat, aka Freddie Jones?
Yes, yeah. It's so weird.
It's delightful to see him in this movie because it connects movie to Dune.
There were so many weird moments of recognition in this movie.
Yes, there are quite a few.
Where it was like, oh, that person's from this thing. That person's from this thing.
Yeah, so the Nazi
doesn't usually happen that often.
The Nazi guy. Well, actually, there are two Nazis from Indiana Jones movies that were in this movie because, so one of them was I can't remember the actor's name, but he plays the creepy guy in the second Indiana Jones movie, the creepy Nazi who gets melted. And then
melting is in the first Indiana Jones movie, not the second. No one gets melted in the second. It's the first movie that Nazi gets melted.
What are you talking about? What do you mean?
Don't look at me. I haven't seen him in a while.
There's no Nazis in Temple of Doom.
But that's not the...
You said the second. You said...
Okay, calm down. Jeez, I'm so sorry, Paul. Please,
we must be correct, Sean.
Please don't discipline me afterwards.
No, Sean.
I had to set down my crochet.
I can't take the ruler again, Paul.
This is listeners, watchers. I am sorry. This has gone off the rails, and it's apparently my fault.
Oh my lord!
No, I will not wear French Renaissance uniforms and prance. Please don't do it to me, Paul.
What the hell is that on?
You distress me.
You're welcome.
What the hell is French? That I don't know what is happening.
Neither do I, Paul. Nobody knows. Anyway.
Nobody knows.
Anyway.
Okay, so we've got things to talk about with this movie. This is
Yes.
I mean, it's a film. It exists. It made money.
It's a film.
It made money.
Did it?
Yep. $21 million budget made $47 million.
What the fuck?
It made money.
It was probably the cocaine.
Not Clint Eastwood. It was. Do you not know anything about Clint Eastwood?
I'll be honest. I know less than nothing about Clint Eastwood.
Okay. Clint Eastwood...
except for the fact that his name sounds like he should be a cowboy.
Okay, he was in a lot of Westerns.
Good.
Good, Bad, and the Ugly. A bunch of different really important Western films. Clint Eastwood, the Unforgiven, a whole bunch. But probably the most important thing at this point you need to know about Clint Eastwood is that he once stood at a Republican National Convention on stage and talked to a chair for 20 minutes.
Oh my God, I remember that.
And I'm not going to explain the context of that, Becca, because I think it's more amusing for you to try to imagine it and then find out.
I think it's better not to know. Yeah, I think it's better not to know the context.
That's the last thing I remember about Clint Eastwood, other than anytime he directs, he apparently doesn't do multiple takes really all much. He basically comes in, he just goes, yep, good enough, bye. And then when people ask him about it, he sort of mythically will say things like, what do you mean? You just want to waste everybody's time? He's not known for being very hyper focused on like the right take. It's always like good enough take. Yeah. Also, after this movie,
That's
fired
very clear.
He fired the editor in this movie.
Nice.
For undisclosed reasons, and that guy died.
Don't think it was
depressed, basically. Clint Eastwood, destroyer of souls. So,
well,
shall we get to likes?
Sure.
So, Paul,
I think I should go last because mine is so way off of about the movie that I should probably go last.
Well, now
I'm fine with that.
Well, now I don't want.
I do that all the time. Let Paul do that. I do that
Fine.
all the time.
Becca, you
where I'm like,
go
let me
then.
go last.
You go.
Fine.
Fine.
I liked the scene that was totally nonsensical, the like Star Wars inspired plane chase scene. I thought that was a neat thing. And then I also liked the credits because it meant the movie was done, even though Sean made us sit through the entire credits because he said, and I quote, post-credit scene.
Yep.
Liar. Sean was a liar.
And I had a cat on my chest, so I couldn't lean over to Google if he was right or not. So we all sat there for another 7 minutes watching the credits. But I was happy to see them because it meant the movie was over.
You're welcome.
Becca, the traditional start of the post-credit scene in cinematic history is seen to be Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Interesting. I have no idea when that movie came out, and I've never seen it.
The 1980s, so... Weirdly enough, I could have been correct about this movie. It could have been the first.
No, Ferris Bueller's 1986. This is 1982.
Okay,
so it's just a couple years too early.
Yeah, but Paul, remember,
I've never seen.
Remember,
Ferris
Becca's
Bueller.
a really young millennial, so Becca's sense of time is accelerated.
I'm the
4
youngest
years
millennial.
to Becca is like 5 seconds.
What am I, a dog?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
Yeah. We'll come back to why you're here, Becca, but not now. Okay, so you.
Oh wait,
you,
I'm wrong. Well, I'm wrong, listeners. I am wrong. The first general release film to feature a post-credit scene is The Silencers, released in March 1966. The scene depicts lead character Matt Helm, played by Dean Martin, lying shirtless on what appears to be a rotating sofa, along with 10 scantily clad women. He kisses 2 women before rubbing his face and muttering, "Oh my God." During the scene, text overlays reads, "Coming up next," and Matt Helm meets Lovey Kravitz. And then the next one is the Muppet movie in 1979.
So you're telling me that the first post-credit scene was the lead up to an orgy?
Yes. Yes, I am, Becca.
Oh,
We're
cool.
back to sex again.
We're back to sex.
Hey, I just want you to know, Paul, I didn't do that this time. You did.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just reading this. So yes, apparently The Silencers is
fascinating.
a spy comedy film in 1966 starring Dean Martin. It's kind of like Dean Martin doing In Like Flint, except it's Dean Martin instead of James Coburn. At least that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting from reading this description of the movie. So yeah, so that was the first post-credit scene. I thought it was not till the 1980s. I was wrong.
Well,
You're welcome. So, regardless.
in any case,
Becca
Anyway,
liked the Star Wars ripoff
I
scenes
liked
and the
the
credits.
Star Wars ripoff scene. Like, it
We are
was
going to
fine.
disagree.
Okay.
Very strongly.
Well, it was the only recognizable part of the film for me, so forgive me for having the tastes of a Star Wars fan.
Oh no, I don't.
Even
I'm
though I'm
not
not
bothered
really a
by.
Star Wars
That's
fan.
perfectly fine, Becca.
Okay.
You can be a Star Wars nerd because I noticed the scenes too. Like
I'm
they
really not,
basically
though.
do the trench run at one point.
They do.
They do a bunch of different things lifted almost
They
entirely
did,
out of it.
well, this is. I mean, the trench run isn't even really much in the video game because I promised I would talk about the video game. There was a video game.
There's a video game?
There was
Yes.
a video game based on this movie, yes, and I played the video game. I didn't see this movie, but I
poor
played the
novel.
video game. The video game is basically starts, with you on the plane trying to fly and escape and shoot
That
bad
makes
guys. It was like one of those Laserdisc arcade games. So it's also a home port of it. Home part of it wasn't very good. But yeah, you basically had to shoot things and dodge, and it was a video. It was an early shoot 'em up.
Oh, wait,
So,
hold
yeah.
on. I'm looking at pictures of this.
Of what? Of Firefox? The
What
game?
this screen gameplay screenshot does not look at all like what I expect of an Atari.
Oh, you
Whoa.
might be you might be
Does it
you might
does it
be
look
seeing
good?
the arcade laserdisc version.
It is, and it looks cool.
I mean that was the era of this was before the big video game crash. This was the era where you had things like Dragon's Lair and Space Patrol and these laserdisc video games. That was like the high technology of the time, and then video games and arcades crashed and cratered.
Aww.
So this was kind of like that height, and then things went south for a long while for video games. I was there, Sean. I was there 3,000 years ago.
It was dark. It was dark, wasn't it?
It was dark. It was dark. You had these video games and all this stuff, and then suddenly things went. I mean, the legend of the ET video games cartridges getting shoved into a landfill in New Mexico is real. It happened.
Yeah. Someone found them, a bunch of them.
Yes, someone found them. Exactly. It was
yeah.
It's like, oh my God. I played ET, Sean. It was a terrible video game. It might be the worst video game I've ever played. Might be.
That's amazing. Well, okay. So then we disagree with Becca. I assume, Paul, you also disagree.
I'm not as hostile about it. No. I mean, Becca likes the trench run, and after 2 hours of watching Clint Eastwood be a bad spy, I'm willing to allow him to have a trench run with
the worst spy.
So bad.
The worst spy.
The worst spy.
What this I mentioned this in the chat during the Patreon field chat on Monday, and listeners, once again, for $1 a month, you can join us in watch these movies with us live and get our live reactions as we watch them.
Yeah, get a preview.
Yes. What this kind of reminded me of is the movie Spies Like Us, which stars Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase, who are basically government functionaries who are catapulted into being very bad spies in Russia to stop a nuclear war. They bumble their way to success, but yes, I mean they get it is done with comedy and high slapstick, but that's like they are very terrible. I mean, they're not in Moscow; they're in the hinterlands of Russia, but it's the similar sort of like they have no bloody clue what they're doing, and they only survive due to lots of luck. They get their luck rolls more than any sort of skills in being spies. So because they're not trained, and basically they're being set up. I'm spoiling Spies Like Us, but that's okay. They're basically being set up so that the Russians think they're the real spies, so that the real spies can do what they're supposed to do and stop the nuclear missiles. Fun fact, spoiling the movie, the real spies get caught and killed easily, leaving our bumbling Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd to have to actually do the real mission. Hilarity ensues.
That sounds awful. That sounds
It's
terrible.
not that bad.
It's a comedy, though. It's not. It
is a very broad
seriously.
comedy.
Okay.
And
yeah.
This was not.
No.
This was not played off.
No. The spy stuff in this movie is done straight and
terribly.
Not great. I mean, maybe I should say that for dislikes, but we're still on likes, so we need to talk about, Sean, your like.
Okay, master, I'll do as you command.
I'm not trying to whip this podcast into shape, honest.
Paul holds the whip today.
We know you holds the whip. He's got a very large ruler.
Where there's a whip, there's a way.
Yeah, Paul hits with a ruler.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so if I have to say that there's anything I like about this movie, I suppose it's the fact that
it ends.
That they did kind of think about the history of the Cold War in a way that is not entirely inaccurate while making it science fictional, because there is actually an incident during the Cold War in which a Russian Soviet pilot defected from the Soviet Union and brought his, I believe it was a MiG-25, to Japan, and then like the Americans came over and like took it up in the air, like basically took all of the information it could about the plane, and then it was like dismantled and sent back to the Soviets. So there is this Cold War element of, we're in an arms race, right? We're trying to make sure that we have this superior position over the other side. Normally we think of that as being about nuclear weapons, who has the best delivery method for getting nukes, the most nukes and the best delivery method, right? Well, part of that equation is also who has control of all of the theaters of combat. And air superiority is certainly a huge part of this, because you need air superiority to deliver your nukes. Not anymore, but that's because we're all idiots and we keep making more nukes than we need. Which is none. We don't need any nukes. Thank you. So I actually like the idea that the Soviets have come up with some new, supposedly great machine, and we must get it, or find it, or whatever. Anything at all that gets us information about how this machine works. It doesn't work as effectively as The Hunt for Red October, which is a much more compelling film that is also, weirdly enough, more tense and also more compelling in terms of its spycraft, even though it's not a spy movie. But I appreciate that this film attempted to do something that feels in line with the kinds of narratives we would see in the Cold War, which is really why, again, I want to note that I keep saying there's a reason we brought Becca here, and it's because I really wanted to have somebody here who has no idea what it's like to live during the Cold War.
None.
Because Becca was born after it was over. Yeah. Paul would have lived through much of it. And I was born in the last stages of it. And so, like, the Berlin Wall hit before I was 10. And by hit, I mean fell down.
Yes.
Like London Bridges.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a big moment.
Yeah. So it just seemed to me like an interesting contrast to have 3 different generations with very different perceptions of the Cold War. Because I imagine Becca doesn't know a lot about the Cold War.
Becca doesn't know.
Nope,
Becca
not a
doesn't
lot.
know, but I lived through it.
Mostly
I
just
lived
movies.
through the Cold War. But the Cold War was serious. I mean, duck and cover was a thing, although there wasn't duck cover in New York City because, if a nuclear bomb was going to come, we were dead. There was no ducking under a seat wasn't going to save us on Staten Island from a bomb hitting Manhattan. We just I kind of grew up with that, possibility that, the Russians might actually nuke us. And
people built bomb shelters.
Yeah, a bomb shelter wouldn't really help at close range.
No, of course not. But, it's not dissimilar from what happened during 9/11, which is like people were afraid of like anthrax and dirty bombs and everything. So folks got sold like all of this stuff to like put over their windows to protect themselves, even though none of it would matter.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so are either of you familiar with the name Stanislav Petrov?
Yes, but you'll have to refresh my memory.
Okay, so a little background. In early September 1983, the Russians shot down a Korean airliner, Flight 007, and that led to a whole bunch of tensions on both sides, because it was like 250 people on this plane that got killed. It's like the Russians just shot it down. But they had intercepted. They went over Soviet airplanes, and the Soviets shot it down, and so that was a problem. And so tensions were on edge that September. I was alive. I was 12, and I was like, oh shit. I didn't even know. We didn't know till later just how bad things could have been. On September 26th.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know now.
1983. The duty officer at the command center for one of the nuclear early warning systems in the USSR, that Stanislav Petrov, thought he saw a launch from the United States coming to Russia. Turned out to be a false alarm. He could have, and probably his right job would have been to tell his commanders, hey, I think there's a launch here, and start World War III. But Petrov did not. He disobeyed military protocol of the Soviet Union and did not report it for strike back. So Stanislav Petrov saved world civilization by not doing his job.
Yeah.
That was the kind of time we were in the early 1980s. I mean, the whole phrase Ronnie Reagan and Reagan being pugnacious against the Soviets, things were tense, especially after KLO went down. It's like we could all be dead, and much of the U.S. and Russia right now be a nuclear wasteland right now. I would be dead because there would be a bomb dropped on New York. I'd be dead for sure. What is your day of birth, Sean?
I wasn't born yet.
Okay, you might not have been born. Well, you were gestating, so you might have been born. You might be alive. Becca might not be alive because history would have gone completely different. But I would be sure to be dead if Stanislav Petrov had done his job. He did not do his job and saved civilization.
Well, thank you for making this a really funny podcast, Paul.
But but we got into the whole Cold War thing. So like I had to talk about Stanislav Petrov because, he saved civilization. I think that's important. It's yes, I lived through the hot wars too, Triffid. That's true. I've lived through a lot of wars. I've lived through more wars than Casca or Highlander. Anyway.
Oh.
Anyway,
so we should probably also bring up the fact that the doomsday clock presently lists us at 90 seconds to midnight.
Oh joy!
You know what the doomsday clock is, Becca?
It's gone down.
Yes, I do actually.
It used to. I remember when it got pushed back to like 9-10 minutes. It's like, oh, we're doing fine. And now, but unfortunately, after 9/11 and the dissemination of terrorist actors that might be able to get their hands on nuclear materials, it would be pretty easy to have a nuclear exchange, or someone dropping a nuclear bomb, or just like blowing up, a dirty bomb or not. So the 90 seconds is unfortunately very real.
Well, I want to make this abundantly clear. This is the closest the doomsday clock has ever been to midnight in the history of its entire history. Since 1947.
Anyway.
So you're welcome.
I'll just continue to count my little stitches.
Yeah, well, it's worth keeping in mind. I want to. So, like, most people think of the doomsday clock as just about nuclear war. Well, that's obviously a big part of it. It now also includes things like climate change and other global concerns that are not exclusively just nuclear destruction. And so part of the reason that the clock is the way that it is now is because we're looking at multi-factors. And like, even if we avert nuclear war, if we're doing nothing about climate change, well, I mean,
we're all going to die anyways.
We're going to die anyways. Or at least life's going to get so very hard for us. So I think it's a thing just to, like, as a reminder for folks that, in its earliest days, it might have looked almost entirely at the nuclear question. And now it's looking at many different questions. So, yeah, it could stay 90 seconds, even if we aren't at risk of Putin dropping nukes on us. So,
I'm close enough to DC that I probably wouldn't die right away, but I'd still be fucked.
Yeah, you just come to my house. It's fine. Yeah. No, realistically, we're all dead. If the United States and Russia get into a nuke match, we each have enough nuclear weapons and we have the capability of delivering them that basically everybody's dead. Sorry, folks.
Anyways,
I've seen The Day After. I know exactly what it'll be like. It won't be fun.
We did decide to run a Cold War podcast.
Yes,
or a Cold War poll. Cold War poll.
So Cold War is kind of serious business.
This was an inevitable topic.
I mean,
but Paul.
Yes.
Oh, no, go ahead. You say your thing, and then I will
there are fun Cold War movies. Not even Doctor Strangelove, which is a black comedy. I'm thinking the Russians are coming. The Russians are coming. Oh, it's a lot of fun.
What? When is The Man from U.N.C.L.E. set?
The Man from U.N.C.L.E. is the 60s.
Yeah.
60s. But yeah, it is Cold War, and both the movie and the TV series, having Russians and Americans combining together to, have fun and save the world. But
that's fine.
But anyway, you want to say something, Sean?
Paul, because I'm worried about the ruler later. I'd like it if you could get to your like, please.
Okay, I'm going to get to my like. Okay. My like is actually extrajudicial in the sense that it has nothing to do with the actual movie itself. It has to do with what the movie reminded me of. So, I'm going to tell you a story.
We're getting
that?
abstract with it.
Mm.
We're getting abstract with it.
Oh.
When the world was young, my brother and I were given a little projector that would project film slides, and we got these a couple of weird Columbia book record and slides and book combinations, and I put them into the chat in Twitch. Basically, they're called guided tours of the world. I don't remember the third one, but there were two. I remember two books very well. Basically, you had a book which would tell about the place, and you had the slides, and the slides corresponded with the pages in the book, and you had a record where the guy was narrating and talking about the place. One of them was Hawaii. The second one, no surprise, was the Soviet Union.
Oh.
Yes. So in watching Firefox, I was watching Firefox and watching Clint Eastwood run around Moscow. I remembered these things. I haven't thought about these things in years, but I remembered how much fun I had setting up this projector in the basement and watching these slides and listening to the record of this guy talking about 1960s era Soviet Union and what you could do if you visited it. Because as listeners know, although I only got into photography in the early 2000s, I've always been interested in travel and going places, even if, before I got into the whole camera plus travel going places. So these two books, and there was a third, I can't remember, to save my life, what the third was. One was Hawaii and one was Soviet, and we had a third one. Maybe I didn't like it as much. I don't remember what it was. There's apparently a bunch of them. I went Googling the other day and found them. But yes, it's just like, it reminded me of, I remember at the time, it was like, I could go to the Soviet Union. I could eat these foods. I could see the Kremlin. That would be fun. So this movie brought me that joy of remembering those books and remembering those slides and that scratchy record telling me about how fun it could be to visit the Soviet Union. I know it's a it's a very extremely weird like.
It is.
No, but it's nice and nostalgic, and we don't get that often.
See, I told you, Becca, it would be a like that either you could ever possibly get because none of you ever heard of these color
never.
slides in your entire lives.
Nope. No, I have not.
I don't have a record player, but you can buy the books and slides on eBay and things, which is where the links is. So it's like keep your color slides in this envelope. Card B, golden papaya, fern forest, Hawaiian hat maker, souvenirs for tourists. I'm reading the Hawaii one. I should probably read the Soviet Union one.
Oh. Well, and now we've learned something today, Paul. Thank you.
To make him a better spy, they probably should have showed him one of those.
It might have actually helped.
It couldn't have hurt.
Okay, can we? I just need
because we're getting close into my dislike.
Hold on. So, is your dislike the fact that he supposedly speaks Russian?
No.
Okay, so I found this out looking up the trivia of this movie. So there are a couple moments when he speaks Russian, and then there's some confusing parts where he's speaking Russian, but it's in English for us, but not in an accent because it's Clint Eastwood, and he just does one voice. But the thing I just want to note is that, curiously enough, he did in fact go to some government agency to learn Russian, some language institute, because his character had to know Russian, and I am utterly flabbergasted because what the hell did they teach him? Well, because when he spoke Russian, it is as bad as when Sean Connery does. But the difference is, I think Clint Eastwood is trying, and Sean Connery in Hunt for Red October just doesn't care.
I don't know, man. It's not about the fact that he supposedly speaks Russian. And that's why they picked him for this, because in order to operate the plain brainwaves thing, you have to be thinking in Russian. Even though brainwaves don't have a language, as far as I'm aware. But what the fuck?
So silly.
The science in this movie is so bad. But since we've gotten through our likes, would we like to turn to dislikes?
We probably should.
Yeah.
Go
Let's
ahead,
do it.
Becca. You've been
Let's
waiting.
do it.
You've been waiting with this.
Yeah, sure.
Do it. Do it. Becca.
Nobody ever tells this man anything when he gets to Russia.
Oh, yeah.
No one ever tells him anything. They just do stuff and are like, you should be keeping up. We killed this man to give you better cover. Do you not understand that? The man has PTSD. Okay? He's having a time, and you're not explaining anything to him about how any of these steps are supposed to help him be a better spy to sneak him into this facility. And because no one ever explains anything to him, no one ever explains anything to us. And so the movie seems like it has, my real dislike, zero plot.
Yeah.
And the pacing is so fucking wild. It was like whiplash watching this movie, because it would be like so many things are happening. He knows what he's doing, and then nothing's happening, and he has no fucking clue what he's doing, and neither do we.
Yeah, there is that problem.
And it was so
where, like,
fucking awful.
Yeah, you're completely right. There's a problem with we know what the overarching plot is. He has to steal plane. We get that. But there's all of the like little micro plot points. But huge parts of the movie, as I think you're noting here, other people know what the plot is, but they're not the main character we're following. So they all know what the fuck's going on. And he's just like, I'm having as you say, I'm having a PTSD right now. And like, nobody knows what's going on.
Yes. He's like, he gets in trouble because he kills someone, and then they're like, but they just killed someone.
Right.
So he's like, wait, what?
Right, he kills a KGB agent, and he gets in trouble. But he points out But he points out quite rightly the KGB agent knew who he was. What the hell was he supposed to do?
It's I don't know. And even still, like, the angry Russian guy who really loves his wife, but doesn't deserve her.
Yes.
Because that's an important detail. He like berates him, but I'm sitting here going, wait, hold on. You do know that he didn't go to spy school, right? Like, he does not know any of your spy
He's
shit.
a pilot.
Right.
He doesn't know what's happening.
Literally, one of Clint Eastwood's lines could have been, I pilot good. Like, he could have just said that, and that would have been a completely accurate
I can
statement.
fly real good. I can't do the spy thing.
I fly
and it would
well.
have solved so much.
Sorry, but it would be in his voice.
If they just added another character who was doing the spy stuff to sneak him in, it would have smoothed over so many rough edges.
Yeah, like maybe if the main spy guy that works with him is his first contact point and is the one that gives him a lot of the feedback, or I don't know, you cut a huge part of this movie down and have some moments where they're like, we really need someone who is an exceptional pilot, but we're going to put you with this guy who's a hardcore spy, and he's going to like run you through boot camp in like a month.
Exactly.
Do something.
Yes.
Like, even like James Bond movies do this, where like he has to like become part of like a Japanese ninja.
He spends weeks doing that.
He spends weeks. He gets married. He gets racist eye makeup. Like,
oh my god, that's right.
Shit.
I completely forgot about the marriage. Yes.
Like, he has a Japanese name. Like, all of this.
You can't just put a man into a spy film.
Yeah.
And expect him to be a spy. You have to teach him how to be a spy, or tell the audience that you taught him in a way that makes it seem believable.
Or you're playing it straight for comedy. The Bill Murray movie, The Man Who Knew Too Little. Have either of you seen it?
No, of course not. I've never seen a movie in the day of my life.
The Man Who Knew Too Little is Bill Murray plays a guy who manages a video store in Iowa, and he's visiting his relatives in London. His relatives in London hate his guts. So they get him to do this live action role play thing. Supposedly espionage. The problem is he messes it up and winds up getting mistaken for a real spy and has a series of increasing encounters where he thinks he's just in this role play thing. And the real spies don't know who he is and start getting scared because he's has 100% confidence because he thinks it's a role-playing thing. It's like, oh my god, he's a super spy. What are we going to do? It's played for
really
absolute
funny.
Absurdity. I mean, at one point he's juggling a bomb that's inside of a Matryoshka doll because he doesn't know it's a real bomb, but it's a real bomb. So it's like, I mean, yes, if someone doesn't know how to be a spy, then you got to play the comedy to 12, and that's what that movie does. This movie, poor Clint Eastwood doesn't know how to spy and just is like a fish out of bleeping water till he gets into the plane.
The thing that solves this problem is you just make his PTSD about the fact that he is also a freaking spy who is a pilot.
Yes.
Like, okay, he's been flying, like smuggling runs and like infiltrating, like it's obviously he was in the Vietnamese War, like of course, right. So like he's infiltrating, I don't know, organizations or something. Like just give it that is his backstory and the reason he's all effed
rather
up.
than telling us.
Yeah, like the reason he's effed up is not because he crashed his plane, but because it was sabotage. He got outsmarted as a spy. And then now it's
don't.
My confidence is, can I do it? But he never has a flying the plane problem. He has a PTSD problem. But nobody seems to care because it's 1982.
Don't show us who is supposed to be a person who's supposed to be a star pilot and tell us, oh, he got shot down.
Yeah.
But he's still totally a star pilot.
Like, if you're going to do that, he's got to be, like, getting shot down by overwhelming odds. Like, it's like him against, five guys, and he takes down 4, but just, he doesn't quite get that last one.
Just can't get that last one.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, but, like, he was 5 to 1. Like, I mean.
I mean, it's an informed ability that he's a star pilot, basically.
Yeah.
Rather than actual
That's why I say, what's that scene? Oh, what's the movie? Oh no, it's Independence Day. So the guy who was abducted by aliens, right? His whole bit is he was a pilot, but he's like become a drunkard, and so he just does crop dusting, right? And at the end of towards the end of the movie, they're strapped. The Americans need pilots because they found a way to like get the alien ship weakened so they can maybe destroy it, but they don't have any pilots because almost all of them like are dead. Right, because the ships have killed them. And so here he's this drunk ass, like, falling off the side of the truck when they're asking for pilots. And he's like, I'm pilot, I fly. Like, that's what you need. Like, you just need to, like, have a guy who is actually good, but he's just screwed up and nobody buys it.
Yeah.
Then he sobers up because he drinks coffee. And then he says, in the words of my people, up yours. And then he drives his plane right up into the ship. Have you never seen Independence Day?
Becca, have you never seen
Becca?
No.
Okay, no. This is getting solved. But when we're done, we're going to find when I can bring you on the show next time. We're doing Independence Day with David.
Oh my God, that would be hilarious!
On an episode of Totally Pretentious.
Oh my God,
You're gonna be on an episode of Totally Pretentious.
Oh my God, I want that to happen. Please make that happen. Please make this happen.
Hold on. I'm gonna message David Annandale literally right now, and I'm gonna say, hey, we are doing. I'm literally as I'm typing it, I'm speaking it out loud. We're doing Independence.
Thank you, Jeff.
Day.
Jeff hasn't seen it either, and Jeff is older than me.
You have to be there for the live show for that.
Triffid is because David is our cinematic expert, and so he would be the complete on the opposite of the spectrum from Beck, who's never seen it. So David would have erudite filmic opinions.
I haven't seen a single movie in my life.
That's why we would subject David. Besides, I know David's seen it.
Thank you for coming to my rescue, Jeff. I love to see you.
Okay, so what I've written to David is, hey, we are doing Independence Day with Becca now because she's never seen it. We have to fix that. So we need to find a Friday to do it over summer.
Yeah.
I gave David a choice in our last Totally Pretentious, which was between Independence Day, which is a film I know he has serious problems with, or The Mummy from 1999, which I know he also has serious problems with.
I disagree strongly with David. I think the 1999 Mummy. Yes, it's not the 1930s Mummy, which I know because he's a very much into the horror mode. I like the 1999 Mummy a lot, so I have to disagree with David.
So good.
I have to disagree with David on the Mummy.
Yeah, the Mummy is great.
The Mummy is excellent.
But I do just want to, I need to give Becca a taste of what she's in for. If you will indulge me, Paul.
I will indulge you.
Good morning. In less than an hour, aircraft from here will join others from around the world, and you will be launching the greatest aerial battle in this history of mankind. Mankind. That word should have new meaning for all of us today. We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interests. Perhaps it's fate that today is the 4th of July, and you will once again be fighting for our freedom. Not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation. We're fighting for our right to live, to exist. And should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day. Cue music.
Wow, that was a very well done dramatic rendition that I drank most of the way through.
Oh God.
I just, it's truly, I've got chills right now. Like, I got little goosebumps from that.
I thought he was turning into Dr. Seuss again at the end.
You
because
fuck
he started
off right
rhyming.
now, Becca. Do not take this moment away. Don't do it. This is.
I'm so happy for you.
Sean, why,
Independence Day is so
I'm
good.
looking forward
Sean,
to
why don't
it.
you
You're
tell us
welcome.
about your
Anyway.
dislike?
I'm gonna make you guys watch The Cat Returns.
Oh, dear
Okay, my
God.
dislike is that this movie isn't Independence Day.
That is not valid like. Dislike.
No. My real dislike of this movie is it is horrifically boring.
It's so boring and it's so long. It's so long and boring.
It is obnoxiously long and nonsensical at huge parts. Like, okay, I'm supposed to believe, first off, that even if it wasn't Clint Eastwood's PTSD character, I'm supposed to believe they're just going to waltz in with a spy, infiltrate a secret Soviet military base, destroy the backup plane, and steal the non-backup plane, which relies on human brain waves, and then get away, simply because it's fast, which I will just note, logistically makes no sense. If you want to actually go fast and conserve fuel, you don't actually go low, you go high. This is why commercial airlines fly at a height like 30,000+ feet, because you conserve fuel, there's less drag, the air is thinner, blah, 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 blah. The fact that he was going low next to the water is actually worse for the plane, you fucking idiot. If you were good at flying a plane, you would know that. I don't know why I know that. I can't even fly a plane. I know more than you, Clint Eastwood. Bastard. But hire me, because I need money. Anyway, so, like, the whole thing, like, there's a plot in here that is interesting, but the way they shoot it is completely the opposite of interesting. It is a long, meandering plot of people walking around or sitting in trucks, being driven around, or talking to people about things that don't really matter, and really not a lot in the way of spycraft at all. There is not a lot. Like, he wears a mustache once. That's kind of
and
it.
it's a bad mustache.
It's not even
It's a really bad mustache.
It's not even a
There's
good-
no actual spycraft in this film. It's just people running around with guns.
It doesn't make sense. Like, he even doesn't speak Russian for most of the movie, or does he? I don't know, because there's one moment where he actually speaks what I guess is Russian, or he just went like whatever, or he's been speaking Russian most of the movie, but we're supposed to think he's like, we're hearing it in English.
Like, they didn't even have an accent.
Right, that's another
Like,
thing.
You're hitting on what is going to be my dislike, but I'll come up with another. But I will talk to this because supposedly he speaks Russian well, but we never know in the movie when he's actually speaking Russian and when he's actually speaking English.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clear at some points he's clearly speaking. Clearly at some points he is speaking. He's supposed to be speaking Russian, even though it's in English. Because like when he's impersonating the officer at the base, he's clearly speaking. He's just like, oh yes, I double the patrols and stuff. He's not speaking English. He's speaking Russian, but we're not. I mean, the contextual clues are not aligned properly to know what language he's speaking at any particular time. And if this movie was being done today, he would totally would be doing it with subtitles and having him speak Russian. And that would make me feel a lot better. But as it is, it's a muddled mess as to when is he actually speaking Russian and when is he actually bumbling American and trying to play play the stupid American. We're not actually sure 100% of the time when he's doing which, except for when he's actually trying to impersonate a Russian officer. Then we know for sure, yes, he's clearly speaking Russian, even though it's coming out in English. And it annoys the crap out of me. It's bad filmmaking. It's bad writing. Bad.
It is bad.
Bad.
When is Hunt for Red October?
80.
I've also never seen that movie.
8 years later than this, you're going to get a film that is similar in its main plot, in its simplistic terms, that is infinitely better done. And even on this language thing, I'm sure, Paul, you remember when we're on the Red October, we're on the ship and everybody's speaking Russian, right? And there's that very beautiful transition from Russian to English, right? There's this wonderful moment where they're seeing lips and then it moves over and suddenly it's English. It is so well shot that even though you know what's happening, you kind of forget that that's what's been done. It's just such a beautiful transition. And then
and that's good filmmaking.
It's good filming. For the most part, Hunt for October is fantastic. I love Sean Connery in it, but it would be nice if he'd pretend like he was trying to be Russian, at least like a little bit.
Sean, I wish I could have seen Montana.
That would have been nice. Poor Sam Neill.
Poor Sam Neill.
A beautiful man.
I mean, yes, I've seen Montana. The last time I saw Montana was coming back from Oregon, actually. Poor Sam. Yeah.
I've never been to Montana.
You've never been to
I don't think
You've
I've
never been
either.
to Montana. Oh, we should have fixed that.
Well, I got time.
I mean, Anyway, you just gotta drive across North Dakota. You gotta drive across North Dakota, and you're in Montana.
Well, I have been to the South and North
really?
Dakota. So.
I do go to South. I'm going to South Dakota
Where in
this
South
summer.
Dakota are you going,
Cool.
Becca?
The capital.
Why would you go to Pierre?
Because my grandmother lives there.
Okay, because I've been through Pierre and there's like nothing around except
Paul.
farmland. It's
There's one good thrift store. And that's it.
Pierre's in the middle of nowhere. It's not even on the interstate. It just sits in the middle of nowhere. And so that's why I was so confident. Like, why the hell would you go to Pierre? There's nothing there.
Yeah, my mom and I make the drive from Tennessee in like one day.
Oh, that's a hardcore drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's better than paying for a hotel. We're both cheap.
Yeah.
But
go see the Crazy Horse Monument if you can.
It's like
I believe I already have.
Go see it again.
It's like several hours away from Pierre. Like 3 hours.
Yeah, but every time you go to see it, you pay them money, and so hopefully it'll get finished.
It'll never get finished, Sean.
It'll never get finished.
It will if you
It'll
make
be like
Mount
Mount Rushmore.
It's only finished in the world of Logan's Run, the book. In the world of Logan's Run, the book, the Crazy Horse Monument is finished.
Oh.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
Okay, Becca, we got a lot of catching up for you.
I've told you this before. There are so many films I haven't seen. And every time you tell me to watch a new film, I will instead choose to rewatch a Studio Ghibli film.
Okay.
And it will make me that much happier.
So I'm announcing now we're starting a new subcast of this show called the Filmic Education of Becca Evans.
Yeah, sure.
Well, we have so many subcasts. Why not add a new one? But
if you do that, you have to let me do my Studio Ghibli one.
I will let you do it once.
Okay. I
probably should actually get to a dislike.
That's how negotiation works. Okay.
I mean,
Paul, what is your dislike?
I mean, the two of you have kind of covered over lots of the stuff I dislike in this movie, but I'm going to.
Sorry.
Well, that's okay because I'm going to come at it a slightly different way. The problem I dislike about this movie is that it's two not well done movies put together. We have movie number one, which is fish out of water pilot tries to be a spy in the Soviet Union and is terrible at it. He gets confrontational with Soviet authorities. Like it's like they even say, "Are you threatening me?" It's like Cletus has no idea what he's doing. He fumbles around. He's wandering around the city at night, which is not at all suspicious. I mean, even the KGB realizes this is suspicious as fuck. Pardon my language. And it's like his attempts to actually do anything are derided or belittled or just get him into worse hot water as time goes on. So that's bad movie number one. It's not a very good spy film, as Becca has pointed out. It's not well done. And while we have a couple of sympathetic characters, the sympathetic characters for me are the Russians. I'm more sympathetic for the Russian security forces than I am for Clint Eastwood sometimes.
I just felt bad for the guy who got run over by the plane twice.
Well, yes.
Somehow.
And then we have the other half of the movie, which is Clint Eastwood tries to fly a plane back home. And this doesn't go great well either, because as Sean has pointed out, he flies low when he should be flying high. I mean, he flies high at the end to glide down, but he should be flying high to begin with, not flying close to the ground and burning up fuel like a fiend. Then there, of course...
And also landing on...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and the insane idea that we're going to land on sea ice and refuel the plane from a submarine and then take off from the sea ice is god-awfully stupid and idiotic. Whoever thought this was a good idea? It's like, oh yes, and we're going to clear a runway in record time with steam cleaners. Like, really?
It is the thinnest glacier ice known to man. And they're like, let's land a plane that was just flying with engines at Mach 7.
I mean, the plane is hot. I mean, the thing should have melted and fell into the ocean in any realistic physics. So, it's like, it's amazing. It's amazingly, it's okay. And then I can't comprehend just how stupidly bad this whole idea is. I mean, at least in the novel, apparently the Russians show up with a submarine and the British American submarine has to run for their lives. At least that's interesting. But in this movie, it's just like, oh, we're going to land and we're going to basically have this quinset hut and we're going to picnic and get the plane refueled.
We're going to set up tents.
Yeah. And in the meantime, this takes so long that the other model plane catches up to Clint Eastwood. Because, like, how long did it take you to actually refuel this plane? He flew for hours to get to the sea ice, and in that time... Then the other guy catches up. Like, what? How does time or physics even work for this movie? So it's not. And
it doesn't.
The plane sequence where he's dogfighting and finally manages to get his mind to shoot the backwards laser plasma bolt. Like, oh god, no, terrible, bad. So this is two bad movies for the price of one, and that is bad filmmaking.
It was 134 minutes of terrible, terribleness.
I mean, you could have done this better if you made it like 90 to 100 minutes and focused on one thing. Either you move quickly to him getting the plane and the travails of trying to escape that. I mean, look at Dr. Strangelove. Dr. Strangelove has lots of time of us in the bomber as they're flying to the Soviet Union to do their duty. But it's interesting because we have interesting characters, we have interesting situation, there's tension and there's humor. Whereas Clint Eastwood flying the plane is boring as bleep. So
you don't have to censor yourself.
I censor myself generally, but Becky,
he
you know that.
Does, and I'm gonna censor it in TikToks anyway.
So
that's fair.
And the spy thing is like, he's a terrible spy. I mean, you could lean into that, but they don't lean and just go that way. You have it. Okay, he's a terrible spy that's been thrown in this situation and he can't spy his life. And you could actually lean into that and make that better. You can make better use of poor Freddie Jones, who doesn't get to do as much as he should because Luther Howard is awesome, and Freddie Jones needs better stuff in this movie than what he's got. Or the Russians. I mean, the guy who played Admiral Pietz in this movie from Star Wars, and he feels, his character feels badly done by in this movie. So yes, I am frustrated. Yeah. This is two bad movies put together into one whole.
Yeah,
so that's my.
It really
dislike.
is. You are correct, Paul.
For sure.
I'm sorry we did this to you. You know, this was not our intention.
I don't need you to apologize. I need the people who voted in the poll to apologize.
They won't, because Andrea, who is not presently here, but we'll listen to this later.
No, but she was with us during the live
She
watch.
was there for the live watch. She in no way regrets her decisions.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, that
No.
listeners
just have
is
to
the
find
joy of
another
becoming
movie.
a patron. You can vote in these polls to make us watch these terrible movies. You can
watch
make
them
a
with us.
difference. You can make a difference
Yeah,
and make
that's
my
right.
life miserable. That's
Yeah.
power.
To be clear, Becca also doesn't get that reference.
No.
I'm sorry. I've seen like 7 films.
Yeah.
We'll, we'll fix that, Becca. We'll fix that.
Well, there's a lot of history we can
Unfortunate.
show you. It's okay, Becca. Yeah. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Can I make you guys watch anime?
I do watch anime.
Watch more of it.
Okay.
Are you watching
Becca,
Solo
I've been
Leveling?
watching anime since before you were born.
I couldn't help that.
Okay. I remember watching Dragon Ball Z on Toonami. Okay. I used to
off.
stay up till 2 a.m. because there'd be a cable channel that would just play the most like dark, messed up anime they could find at 2 a.m. I would stay up to watch that. So when you say watch anime, you watch anime.
I do watch anime. Ask Jeff, because I usually message them about it.
Now, I will admit I don't actually watch that much lately, but that's okay.
There's a bunch of good stuff coming out this year.
There's a lot of good stuff. I did have Crunchyroll for a while, but it's just that it's been hard to kind of keep up with everything. So, but I used to
There's
go to anime
too
conventions.
much to keep up with. I do too.
My first conventions were anime conventions.
Same. I went to Animazement in...
No,
Where the fuck was I? I was in North Carolina somewhere.
I went to Fanime in San Jose.
There you go.
Pretty big one.
Look at us. Look at us,
Yep.
little nerds.
Yep, the live action Japanese version of Death Note had... It wasn't like the premiere, but like the American premiere happened at Fanime. At least that's what I was told. I've never verified this, so they could have all lied to me for all I know. But so
The really exciting thing that's happening for me now is that the volleyball anime movie is coming out in the U.S. on May 31st.
Nice.
I'm so excited.
There's a lot
Go
of
see Haikyuu May
there's
31st.
a lot of fun sports related anime stuff over the last like 30
Haikyuu
years.
is the best sports related anime ever.
Yeah. You and I are gonna have to talk. We'll have to. Why are you not on when we would do the Eye Catch, which is our anime show? What the hell,
know.
Becca?
I was busy.
Okay. Pay off your student
I was
loans
trying to
already
survive.
and just come work for us full time for no pay.
Do you want to pay $2,120 a month
No.
for my student loans?
No.
That's what I thought.
I have to move and buy a new
That's
house,
what I thought.
Becca. I don't have any money.
Same.
Yeah. Pretty bad. Well, Paul,
It
Yes.
feels. Anyways.
I think you've done your dislike, yeah?
Yes, I have done. My dislike is
Yeah.
done.
I'm very proud of you.
Okay. I think it's time for
That
grading.
was not wasn't the reaction I was hoping for. Jeez.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it.
Hey, Becca,
Yeah,
I'm proud of you.
thanks. I want you to know that I thought this film was worse than Robin Hood.
Uh-oh.
That's not true, but okay.
It is true.
No, because this
Robin Hood was at least fun.
Robin Hood is loud, so you can't sleep through it. This film I could definitely sleep through.
I need to find another Robin Hood 2018 to make you guys suffer through.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. Okay, Becca, your final thoughts and your grade, please go.
This movie sucked. I would never watch it again. I can barely remember it because it was so nonsensical and disconnected, and none of it made sense as a whole thing.
Okay.
I never want to hear about it ever again. I feel bad for the novelist who had his book butchered
Craig Thomas. He was not
in
unhappy.
theaters.
You want to know why?
Well, he should have been.
You want to know why, Becca?
Why?
Because Clint
Why?
Eastwood paid to have him and his wife come out the set.
I
He
mean,
dedicated the second book in the series to Clint Eastwood
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, he was
as the
happy.
pilot of the Firefox.
So yeah, he was happy with it.
Yeah, I agree with Trish. I hope he smiled all the way to
Exactly.
the bank.
He did.
Um,
He probably didn't get paid that much, like $37. But in 1982, that was like $500,000. So
do I want to give it an F plus or a D minus?
That's up to you, but
Yep.
you need to decide right
You-
now.
You need to
And
make a
whatever you
decision.
say, you're stuck with.
D-.
D minus, got it. Wow,
Yeah,
that goes
there's
wow.
other movies that I would never
Okay,
watch
so,
before.
like
if I had to
D
choose,
minus.
there are movies I would
It
never
now
watch.
goes to Un Chiquito Palito.
As I said before, this is two bad movies trying to be one, and it's kind of it is like an evil Reese's peanut butter cups where it's neither chocolate or peanut butter. It's two terrible tastes that are put together, and you wind up with something that you put in your mouth and you don't want to eat, but you're forced to eat for 138 minutes of watching it. I mean, it did make me think of the nice color slides thing from the past, so it has that going for it. I remember playing the video game, although the video wasn't great. So, and it had Freddie Jones in it, which he was misused, and it also had Admiral Piet in it, although he was misused. So I'm going to be kind and gentle to this movie. I'm going to give it a.
It doesn't
give it
deserve
a
it.
D.
Oh, that's not that kind. I was like, oh, C
Yes,
plus.
I thought you were gonna give it a C.
No, this is not a C movie. This is not a C movie.
Noted. Paul's kind and gentle is a D.
Well, given I
Okay.
could have easily gone into D minus F plus territory with you. Yes, I'm being kind by giving it a D. Okay, Sean, you go.
God,
That's
I could
true.
do such a bad joke right now.
Double plus ungood, as
Rebecca?
Triffett says. Yes, this
Don't
movie's
do
double
it.
plus ungood.
We're not.
You don't want me to do it?
No,
You don't want me
Sean.
to do the joke?
Do it.
No, Sean.
Do it. Why not?
Okay.
Do it. Do
yeah,
it.
when Paul's being nice, he likes to give the D.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. What is happening, listeners and watchers? I don't know.
That was such a good joke, though.
Oh God.
Oh man. Anyways, hey Sean, what did you think of this movie? What are your final thoughts and grade? Let's get this done so I can go to bed and not cry anymore.
Sean, you're evil man.
Oh,
Ugh.
I clipped that.
Of course you
Yeah,
of
I'm
course
sure you did, fucker.
Hey, Trish, maybe we don't want to talk about things being long right now, given the
Is
present
this-
climate.
Is this made worse by the fact that I'm working on another tiny mushroom?
Tiny mushroom? What?
Yeah,
Okay.
I get compared to dicks.
Anyway, Sean.
Oh,
Sean,
Anyways.
final grade.
Okay.
Final grade. Go.
Final thought and grade. It's just boring. It's not very fun. Nothing really works. I think I can leave it at that. It's a D minus.
Okay, so we averaged to just about a D minus then.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little more than a D minus, but not by
Good
much.
job, us. No, it's D minus, averaging down to an F.
No.
You can't do that.
That's how averages
no,
work,
that's not
right?
average.
No.
That is not averages work.
I got a C in statistics in college.
That's
Okay,
why.
well, we will work on that
That's why
later.
it says in the script, asks Paul to calculate. So that's why.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So, thanks everybody for being here. That is the show. So if you'd like to let us know what you thought about this episode or past episodes, if there's a piece of trivia we might have missed or something like that, you can go to skiffingfanty.com/listener suggestions or send us an email at skiffingfanty@gmail.com. The latter, if you've got like a full, like you want to send a real comment to us, please email us that. But if you'd like to suggest something, send it to the suggestion form. There are movies we could watch and so on and so forth. If you'd like to find the Skiffing Fanty Show where it exists on the internet, we are on pretty much every social media site that still technically operates, other than Twitter. And we are Skiffing Fanty on all of that stuff. And we have a newsletter as well. All of those links are on our link tree, linktr.ee/Skiffy and Fanty. You can also, again, join the Patreon. Patreon.com/Skiffy and Fanty. $1 a month is really all it takes. And that does us wonders. And if you love the show, please tell people about the show and leave reviews on iTunes, Podchaser, Good Pods HQ, and pretty much anywhere you can do that. The more, the better.
We'll love you forever.
What is that, Paul?
It's a replica of a Roman coin. See, it's supposed to represent, like, see, for as little as $1, you could join the Patreon. Kind of like this Roman coin.
Nice.
Okay, so Paul says replica, but that's actually the first coin he ever minted, so...
Providentia, can't read the rest of this, Govastus, QR, and there is a Roman emperor on the back. See, there's a Roman emperor.
Is it
Nice.
Is it Trajan?
No, it's not Trajan.
Is it before
never
Trajan then?
Trajan.
It's after
after?
It's after Trajan.
Okay.
Ah.
All right. Okay. Got it. So your uncle did that. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Anyway, for me, I am at SeanDuke.net. Alphabet streams here on Twitch. I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central. I have a Patreon as well, and various socials, not Twitter, Blue Sky, Mastodon, all those places. And you can find all the links to those kinds of things at my link tree, which is /SeanDuke with a U. So,
And don't forget to check out the histories at SeanDuke.net/thehistories.
that's true. Paul is on the histories. His true history is there.
My true history is there.
What?
Unless your name is Dave McCarty, you can eligibly find me across the internet as Prince Justin with a V, from book reviews to podcasting to streaming to sharing photography and much, much more. Throw a rock on the internet and you will find me, whether you like it or you don't.
Yay! Terrifying. You can find me over at Dicey Druid on Twitch. Right now we're in the big Stardew phase, streaming the 1.6 update. Come join me. Have fun on the farm. We're starting our coffee empire and our pig empire. They are two separate things. Otherwise, I'm usually at home on my couch with my cat, plotting world domination.
Excellent. So as is required by the Skiffy and Fanty bylaws, I will now make this awkward.
I think you did that several
It's
times
been
already.
very awkward. this entire
Honestly,
show.
pretty normal. I was pretty tame. You know, I think it was fine. I mean, the length and girth of my explorations today were, I
Oh
think,
dear
appropriate.
God, Sean, no. I'm just going to short circuit this and say the spice must flow. And scene.
Why am I done making it
Do you
awkward?
spite?
I am
No,
making,
it's not unseen. Nope.
It is
It's
awkward.
not unseen until the Supreme Lord of me says so.
I thought
Supreme. Who decided on Supreme Lord? I feel like I vetoed
you
that.
did veto that.
Well, you don't have voting rights, so you
You
don't pay for the Patreon.
How dare.
Okay. I guess now I'll say it. And on that note, awkward ending ends. If you want to support this show, you can go to patreon.com/skiffyandfanty or skiffyandfanty.com, our website, where you can get access to all of our fancy things. Our music comes from Holy Mole. You can support him and his work at patreon.com/holymole. Thank you for listening.